I met a gypsy.
Speaking of motocross, how fucking crap. Before we end, we can't leave without talking about how good the racing has been. Eli Tomac, chugga, 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 chugga.
What, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? Overalls, he went fourth, third, 2.
And now he's
one.
won every moto since High Point or something like
Man. Yeah, and Chase Sexton he's risen to the occasion for all of us fans, right? Like, poor kid dumped it at Colorado. That was a brain fart. But the crash at Millville, dude, he was going for it. The rut was weird. He just tipped over.
heaps of people crashing that turn too.
Yeah, it was that Chase Sexton is doing everything right. Like, he's making mistakes. He's making us fans. The 450 class, would you say the 450 class right now, the way they're talking with each other, the way they're racing each other,
dope, dude.
Isn't it dope?
Yeah.
Like, even I'm stoked. You said Savachi, dude, that guy is crushing.
Yeah.
He's up front, he's falling, he's getting hold, he's fearless to not go backwards.
Yeah.
He's getting up, starting, fading backwards. If he would have started 6th, we wouldn't even know how he did.
Yeah.
He's up there. Like, the sport in 450 Pro motocross is absolutely impeccable.
Did you watch the second moto yesterday, the 450s?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen Tomac, or when was the last time you saw Tomac that cooked after a moto?
Oh, dude, they were
fucking going for it.
Yeah, like he did not want to let that was so pivotal in the series. And I do feel like Chase does have a shot at Washougal. Like, he's smooth enough.
Yeah.
I think he's obviously good at Paula. He just got to stay in it, and I think the team around him, like, how good's Honda right now? Like, the Lawrence brothers, you have Sexton, like, Lars, like, smooth as a freaking cucumber. The guy, like, that whole regime of, look at how the difference is. He took a new guy. He's, fresh eyes, new outlook on things. Like, how nervous are you the boys are out front? I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow, that's awesome. But on the promoter, how killing it did Jerry Martin do on the commentary?
Bro, I agree completely.
I thought it was going to be a complete...
Have you spent much time around him, though?
Yeah, he's pretty boring, I thought.
Dude, no, you haven't...
He's pretty smart.
You haven't been around him,
so I've only been guarded with Johnny O, on bike rides.
Yeah, no, bro.
Really smart ass kind of thing.
Dude, like, he's like Ricky.
Really sharp.
Him and Ricky are the same dude, right?
Dude, he was really insightful. I loved the excitement. Good. The excitement. Like, but I also love Brock Glover and his old, like, but I thought Jeremy was the best yet.
Dude, I completely agree. I thought he was so good. And I've lucky enough, I've actually spent a lot of time around him and Alex. And they're underrated.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I know
in terms
Alex.
of personality. And as soon as I heard he was on there, I was like, this is going to be awesome. Yeah. And the local knowledge that they've got about that place. Like, one of the coolest things I ever saw in my motocross life is Jeremy and Alex doing 230s on the Monday after Millville. No water on the track. Nothing. Just straight fucking animal style, bro. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I watched them then get on a cycle. We were filming for Red Bull TV for this like European show that Red Bull used to run. And they got then on a cycle bike and then they cycled the track for like however. Can you imagine cycling that fucking track?
No, man. They
couldn't go up and down everything, but they had like a mountain bike track around it.
Dude. Osho.
Bro, those boys, they're like special dudes. And the family, like they're unreal.
Talk about the good thing of America, producing humans like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like they are amazing humans. And I will say Millville's the best track on the circuit.
I think so too.
Especially the last couple years adding those big hills.
Yeah. Like
just the elevation, the sand, the parity, the ruts, like the hard
gives
pack.
guys options too.
Yeah, I thought like that 450 Pro Moto was one for the books, man. Like you have two different styles accomplishing the same goal, and two different from like the guy who was one of his last nationals of the of his career to the new kid in town. On a black bike and a red bike. I mean, you don't get the only thing is they both have dope kits and A-stars, right? But that 450 moto shows the You know, Dunge, I thought he was aggressive first lap, first moto. I'm like, dude, he might have something, but it just shows the level those guys are at.
It's just
to drop. Like Jason, he's had a rough season. I think he'd be willing to hang it out if he'd been in it
if
early.
he was up the front,
Early, and he's like, nah, I'm not. I'm gonna get through this. Like get through this series now and not sacrifice. Like those guys are willing.
Yeah. Well, like Chase, he'd ride if the motocross season had to be 28 races. He'd do all 28, and he'd be there with a fucking smile on. He'd be the first one at the track. He'd be the last one to leave. Like he's just that guy.
Did you see the boys at Verb caught that bump jump of Barsha like on the step up after the catapult?
Nah.
Like check that.
Where's that?
It's on Verb's Insta.
Go to that.
Oh, Team Fried. Sorry, I don't. Yeah, the Fried boys.
How dare you?
I know, man. Yeah, it was the. Old Tom got this shot. It's a bump jump. You saw it. It's after the catapult, and he like manuals and bumps, and like this shows you how rough the track is. It's so gnarly. Like
yeah.
Like he bunny hops, and then brought.
Dude,
and then down, and then leg out with swagger, then downsides.
Oh my god, bro!
Like before
gear change.
Yeah, like everything that's happening right there. Like
there's a lot going on.
Boom, bump.
Disgusting.
Yeah, like it's just something like, and like Barsha's a guy. I think the series has now separated him enough off the back.
Yeah,
that he's not willing. Like,
you're in the dog days now. Like this is just the dudes are in the trenches.
Like they all come out swinging the first 6 motos. Then they have a bad moto and they're like, I gotta get through it.
Yeah.
Like,
dude.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like I'm. As fans, we're selfish.
Yeah.
Because we know when you can do stuff like that.
Yeah, you've got it. You've got what it takes. Well, I just think it's so... The thing that I took away from that second moto in the 450s was obviously those two guys are 20-something seconds ahead, right? And just the way that Eli could just pull that pace out of his back pocket for 2 laps and just literally bite down on his mouth guard and just... absolutely send it for those last 2 laps of tracks at its roughest, and Chase elevated as well. Like Chase brought it in, he gave it his run, and that to me is, you know, you think about like the one-on-one match racing and stuff, like that's been, as soon as I've talked about this one-on-one race with people, everyone's like, oh yeah, but one-on-one races are boring. But I'm like, fuck dude, if you've got 2 guys that are that close and are that good, like bracket one-on-ones, they very rarely are good until the final, because you've gone 1v16, 2v15. But when you've got those 2 guys, and that to me, it's like watching, people say how golf is boring, right? Golf is boring if you haven't watched every single hole. If you haven't watched every single hole of that tournament, and if you haven't had that slow build over 4 days to where now they're on the last green and they're both 140 yards out and they've both got the same club in their hand and they're both hitting into the same green. Like, you've just done all of this. It's the build up that matters, and it's that whole lead up. It's like a crescendo. And the race on the weekend at Millville was that in that's why you do a 30-minute race, because you got these 2 guys, they find their way to the front, they push this crazy pace, and then when both of the boys are 150 yards out with hitting into the same green, Eli Tomac just sticks it to 1 foot and putts in for birdie to win, you know?
Yep.
And like that, to me, that was motocross.
So absolutely, and that's why we love it so much, because I use not golf, something different, but maybe just as lame to some people is cycling.
Yeah.
Right? Cycling.
Same shit.
So
like Tour de France.
You're Alpe d'Huez.
Yeah.
You're climbing Alpe d'Huez. And this is where golf doesn't have it. You're at 200 beats per minute. You got 30 minutes to go, like same as moto.
Yeah.
But there's no real skill involved in this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no, I mean, it's like golf's all skill. Let's say 98% skill, like touch, feel, everything that Justin Barsha just did on that bump jump, right?
Yeah.
But then cycling has the anaerobic threshold of feeling it, understanding how far you can go.
Yeah.
Those guys, that's where like they
got both.
They got
at the
both.
Same time.
And you're trying to break. And Sexton thought he was going to do to Tomac what Tomac
does to everyone else.
What Tomac tried to do to Dunge at Washougal.
Yeah.
And our boy Rick Gilmore
told
me, he goes, hey, just give me 25 minute mark. Give me that. He's like, why? He's I'm going to break Dunge at 25 minutes. He's like, all right, I'm going to sit out of his roost. And this is Gilmore told me the story. He's like, dude.
That's so
and
sick.
he's like, all right. So they like, we'll give him 25. I'll sit at 95%, 95. And then I'll go 105 and zap him. And I'll break him. And dude, Dunge responded. And it's like Alpe d'Huez, right?
Yeah.
You know, except we know Dunge wasn't on the PEDs probably. But I mean, not and that's where I love that. Like when your skills the same. Like you said, that final putt for birdie, and I didn't see the interviews, but I hope Chase. Like I should rewatch it, but I hope he was smiling about the battle.
Yeah, he should have been super proud. There's not many people that can push Eli Tomac to his absolute limit.
Yeah,
like, that was everything he
like
had.
you rode, like you might have gave up points the first moto, be upset with that tip over. That's racing, but like to be able to go pound like swing for blow with Eli, like that's something very special that very few Dunge can say he did it. Who else?
Yeah,
like
not
really,
many people.
like not even Ferrandis, like. Tomac never really, Osborne never really did it because he was in a different season of life.
Yeah.
But like you're seeing Eli at the absolute pinnacle.
Yeah.
And that kid, Chase Sexton, did it. So kudos to Chase.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.